Hey everyone, welcome back. It has been a hot minute since I've made a video. And I appreciate all of you who have reached out. Thank you so much to make sure I'm okay and see how we're doing. Everything's fine. I just really needed to take some time off. I think a lot of you will understand why. So, it just all got to be too much. Everything that's happening in the world, politically, just everything just got to be too much for me. If you've been a subscriber, a follower for a while, you know I struggle with anxiety. And when it gets to be too much, my coping mechanism is to what I call turtle. Just remove myself from that situation and sort of turn inward and just shut all of that out. I have learned that is my trauma response to situations that I feel anxious about or unsafe about, that sort of thing. So here's the thing. The world is a crazy place, and I was just finding myself so mad all the time because of what a few, really in reality, a small group of people are doing to create so much chaos in the world and in my country. And one of the things that really got to me was how many times I would have a comment, usually from somebody who wasn't a long-time viewer, but sometimes somebody who was, that basically said, don't get political, sort of stay in your lane. That really bothered me because what's happening in the world is affecting me. And I can't pretend like it's not. So I found myself wanting to argue all the time, and angry all the time, and anxious all the time. And I didn't like who I was becoming. So I decided I just needed a break. I needed a break from it all. I needed to take stock and decide, did I even want to ever make another video again? How did I want to proceed? And you know what? It's exactly what I needed to do. I really needed to take that time off and take stock. I needed to take that time off and just sort of take care of myself, take care of my mental health and my physical health and my emotional health, and just focus on that and let go of that other stuff. So that's what I did, and it was the right thing to do. In this past week, I've been feeling a lot better. And for the first time in weeks, I felt like making a video. I also decided that I am a Canadian, and what's happening in the world is affecting my country and me personally, and I have the right to express that. I'm not trying to convince anybody of anything. And I've also realized that that for that very small number of people who don't like that or take offense to that, that's okay. Those people don't need to be part of this channel. And I'm not for everybody. This channel isn't for everybody. I'm not trying to be radically political. I don't think I'm being political. I think I'm just being honest. And I think it would be very disingenuous of me to pretend like none of that is happening, to pretend like none of that is affecting my life and how I spend my money, how I shop. And so that's the way it's going to be. Feels good to say it. We're not going to be a political channel, obviously, because, I want to focus on how we are, on the things we have in common, and all of the positive things that we have to look forward to. Also, work has really been stressing me out. Last year was a very stressful year at work. I work for a big company, and anybody who works for a big corporation probably understands it when I say that big corporations are focused on shareholders, right? Profits and shareholders. And when I started with my company 9 years ago, I was hired by an amazing lady who's still a friend, but now works for a different department. It was about helping the client. The work that I did was focused on helping the client in a non-biased way. And really, one of the reasons I left my previous role, even though I loved the person I worked with, who is still, like I say, a mentor and a friend as well, was because I didn't want to sell any product. I just wanted to do the work that I do and leave it out to the other groups to do the selling, trying to be as vague as possible. But more and more, the huge company that I work for has changed management and has become more and more focused on selling. And it doesn't really seem to matter how good of a job I do, how happy the clients are, how many, positive reviews and messages my boss gets about the work that I do. For my boss's bosses, it's still all about the targets, the dollars, all of those things. And it's incredibly stressful. I get 5 weeks holidays, plus I carried over 2 weeks from last year. And when I look at the targets and how much I would have to do each month in order to get to making my targets, it would be impossible for me to actually take the time off I'm entitled to and make those targets. It's just impossible. But the company doesn't care, because for them it's just all about the bottom line. And so there's no work-life balance. Certainly didn't feel like I had it last year. I've spent a lot of this time off also thinking about that. What do I want for my future, career-wise? I'll be 60 this year. And at 60, I always thought or hoped that I could be, at least part-time. Not quite ready to retire or able to, but part-time. So retirement from the big corporation is very much on the table. I don't know what that will look like for me work-wise. I'm not ready to stop work. I'm not ready to stop doing the work that I love and that I'm good at. I always say there's a lot of things I'm not good at, a lot. But I'm really good at what I do professionally. That I know. And I can say that because I'm more than happy to acknowledge, like I said, there's lots of things I suck at. So I'm not ready to stop doing that work. And I will continue to do work after that point on a contract basis, consulting basis, self-employment basis. That's what I'm thinking. Being able to focus on the work that I really love and the work that I see benefits people. And that has made a huge difference as well. I think making that decision also just was so good for my mental health, because now when I'm at work and the usual corporate stuff happens, I just think to myself, I'm a character in a play and none of it matters. I'm still really focused on doing a good job for the clients that I work with and enjoying the people that I work, on my team. But everything else is irrelevant. And there's just such a huge amount of relief and freedom in knowing there's an end. So I think those are the two things that were really, really stressing me out. I haven't felt myself since I lost my friend at the beginning of October last year. And he was from Tennessee, from Chattanooga. And he would have hated what's happening in the world. Hated it. He was very not political and hated talking about politics. And I just keep thinking to myself, he would have hated everything that's going on. Sophie is fine. She is sleeping on my bed right now under the quilt, still being a sassy old girl and still going strong. And I hope that continues for years. I'm feeling a world better. It doesn't hurt that it feels like spring has finally sprung on Vancouver Island. We still had a lot of rain, but we've also had some sunny days, sunny breaks in days. And it just feels better. It's warmer and just better. And that's really encouraging as well. I'm starting to think about how I'm going to fit the van out, the RAV4 out for camping this spring and summer. That's going to be exciting. I really couldn't do anything. It was just pouring rain all the time before, but now it feels like I can start to think about that. I have a couple of things already that I know I'm going to do first, and then I'm just going to think about how I'm setting up a bed, how I'll set up a little kitchenette, that sort of thing. And of course, I will take you guys along for that. For those of you who are disappointed that I sold Vanuela, that I sold the ProMaster, the reality is I was never going to live in it full time. That was never the plan for converting it to a camper van. It was always for adventures and taking off and being able to travel. And especially since I moved to Vancouver Island, I had not used it much. I only used it a handful of times to actually go out and camp and adventure. And I live 35 minutes out of town. So every time I had to drive anywhere to get groceries or anything, I was driving the van. It's the only vehicle I have. Very expensive on gas. It just did not make sense. And it was getting to the age where it was time. There was just mechanical things that were coming up, one after another after another. So it was time to let it go. And it was time to let it go to somebody who would really take it out and use it, one, and two, somebody who's really mechanical and wanted to and able to do whatever work needed to be done themselves. And the couple that bought it, that's them. So that's fantastic. A camper van deserves to be used. And I'm quite confident and excited about how the SUV will work. I'm not going to be out for months at a time. But you know what? I wasn't out for months at a time anyways. And when I am not working, I'll buy another van and I will convert it. Having the RAV has been amazing. It's so good on gas. It's so small and sporty to zip around in. You're so used to driving something big and always thinking about, oh, that road is pretty narrow because there's cars parked on both sides, or where will I find to park? I have to park way out and then walk because, you got to park this great big ProMaster van. Not with the RAV. It just goes everywhere, parks anywhere, and is so economical. My insurance is less. Gas has been amazing. And it's so much newer, and it has a warranty. So I'm feeling very happy about that purchase, and I'm excited to do that camperization and take you guys along with me for that. I've been really, really touched by those of you who have checked in, left messages to see if I was okay, to see if Sophie was okay. I love you guys. I love you for caring and reaching out. You guys are amazing. We're good. I just needed to take the time, and I didn't even know what to say. I just needed to turtle. And I hope that you do the same. That when life gets to be a little too much, you take the time you need to take care of yourself. We may all need to do more of that for the next little while. I'm so grateful to have my kids, to have my really good friends, to have Sophie, and to have the sanctuary of the tiny house is exactly what I needed. Thank you so much. Next week we'll be back to our regularly scheduled type video, and hopefully maybe a cooking video here and there. That's another thing that I really haven't felt much like doing, which is a real indication of my stress level, my anxiety level, when I don't even feel like being in the kitchen. And I love being in the kitchen. So guys, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you are staying safe. Remember, in a world where you can be anything, let's all be kind to one another. I love you. I will see you next week. And just to prove to you all that Sophie is just fine. She's just mad that I woke her up from her nap. Hi, sweetie. Hi. Hi. Oh, good scratch. She's doing good.